I'm Mrs. A, and for our art project today, I thought we would design and create mugs. And when you're creating your mug, maybe think about a reason why you've made your mug. It could be for comedic reasons. I really like that mug. It could be your favorite football or baseball team, any type of sports. Maybe it's a design you were inspired by. I bet you have some mugs in your home. Do you collect mugs of where you've gone? I do. So today when we create our mug, we're going to really dive into how we make a two-dimensional design or drawing look like it has form. That means that it's three-dimensional. I was really inspired by this mug that has all these doggy faces on it. It makes me smile every time I use it. All right, next we're going over materials. For the materials today, I have a pencil for some light sketching, a couple of pieces of paper, markers, and crayons for my coloring and my designing. I did do a printout of some different mug shapes for inspiration, and I have all my trusty mugs to look at to give me inspiration for design and shape of the mug as well. Go grab your materials, let's create. When I'm starting out a lot of my artworks, I like to create a border going around my paper, and that just gives me the parameters of where I am drawing. So I know that I'm going to be inside of my border, and at the end, it just gives it, I think, a professional look, almost like the artwork is mounted. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a simple border on my papers. To start out our mug artwork, we're going to start out with an ellipse. And that is a circle, but we're looking at it from the side. From the ellipse, we will then go into cup shape. From the cup shape, then we'll decide on our table line and anything that you would like inside. Hey, I added some marshmallows, or perhaps you would like to drink some tea. After our table line, we can also decide if you would like something else on the table, a saucer, a note, and maybe some steam. So let's get to that ellipse part. What the ellipse is, it is an elongated circle. And to create our elongated circle, I just want to show you one of my mugs here. If you're looking at it from top down, you'll probably see the circle. But we're not looking at our mugs from up above, an aerial view. We're looking at our mugs from the side. So it's kind of a trick of the eye. There's still a circle, but now what you see is the ellipse. It's almost like an oval. That's what we'll start out with. I am going to use my pencil to kind of sketch in where I want my ellipse. I want to make sure I have enough room on the bottom part of my paper to fill it in with the mug shape. But I'm going to do something else right now. I'm just going to practice doing my ellipse. Notice I'm not stopping to erase any of the lines. Maybe I'll do one up here. Just practicing. All right, I feel comfortable with my ellipse. I'm gonna come back to this one and maybe show you how we can do more than one mug. It's always fun. All right, I think I'm confident. I'm gonna go in for it. Again, I'm up near the middle to the top part of my paper to make sure I have enough room to create my mug. I also wanna leave enough room on the side for my handle. Now, I'm gonna find each side of the ellipse where I want. And I'm going to bring that line down, and this is where I'm really thinking of my cup shape. Your cup shape can have a lot of different looks to it. I'm just going to go down with a classic straight line coming down. For the bottom part, I want to have that same curvature in the line to really start building up the form of my mug. And what form is, it's three-dimensional object in space. Three-dimensional form. And we want our mugs to have form. We don't want them to look too flat in our artwork. All right, I'm thinking of my side here. Let me see, I kind of like this classic handle, or maybe I'll go with something a little bit fancier. Maybe I'll go up, down, and connect. Hey, that looks like a human ear. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go back around and connect. All right, I have the beginning of my mug. Next, I want to put a table line. I do not want my mug just floating in space, and I don't want the table line on the very bottom of the mug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up around here. I'm going to go across, skip my mug, right in between the handles, skip the handle, and there's my table line. And that really puts my mug in the space. All right, time for me to think about if I want the viewer to see what's inside of my mug and if I want any steam or my background elements. Now that I have my cup shape or my mug shape outlined in pencil, I'm gonna go around my elliptical with my marker. I'm kind of using the side. It's not too thick of a line. If you use the very tip of your marker, you'll get a very thin line, and I will be doing that for my steam in a moment. I'm just gonna bring these lines down, kind of going over the lines that I like. I have not even erased any of the pencil marks yet. That's something I like about using the pencil lightly. Just a light sketch. I'm gonna go around, make this fancy handle here, and I'm going to capture my table line. Sometimes I know students will use another piece of paper or a ruler to make sure their table line gets really straight. I'm just gonna go freehand with it. Now for the inside of my mug, I did create a line to where you can see what type of drink I might have in here. I'll probably draw it or color it in brown because I would like it to be coffee. I think I need a little coffee. Perhaps you would like some hot cocoa. Ooh, that sounds good too. Maybe you want to add some marshmallows. You can add some simple marshmallows to it. On this, when I showed for the table line, maybe you want to add something inside. Right now you can add a saucer if you would like to have it, or if you're having a cup of tea, perhaps you would like to show that it is tea that's inside of the mug. Who are you making this mug for? Are you going to send it out? Is it going to be for Father's Day, Mother's Day, for a birthday or a holiday? For the steam, I am going to use the very tip because I want this to be hot coffee. So I'm using the tip of this marker for a very thin line. And I think that's where it really matters, to really think about your thick and thin line. I want that steam to be very wispy. I think I would like to have this on some type of like napkin, or maybe I could make it a note or something that's being written. I usually put my napkins on the right hand side. This one has it on the left. You can put a spoon on the table. Here's a note on the table. I've seen people who put a cookie. Ooh, that does sound good. But right now I think I'm gonna have it be a napkin. Maybe it's a 2-ply napkin, so I'm gonna get another thin line in there. There we go. All right, now I get to think about the design on my mug. All right, I've decided I am going to draw a dog's face on here and a pattern. Now a pattern is a repeat. It can be a repeat of line, shape, or color. But when we create our pattern, we want to make sure it doesn't go straight across our paper. We're working on something now that has form with the curvature of our lines. So we're really putting something in space here. So I want to make sure if I'm going to do a pattern, that my pattern also has that same curvature. So I'm going to go ahead and do another line here. I'm going to use the tip of my marker, and you'll see there's a slight curve on the line. I'm going to keep my pattern in between 2 lines here, and now I can start my pattern. Do I want to have it up here too? No. Sorry, just thinking out loud. I think I'll start on that dog head. I was really inspired by one of my mugs here. I'm gonna triangle ears for this doggy, a little nose, just his little head here, big eyes. Ooh, I wonder if they would sell this mug at a pet store or a store where you can adopt a pet. Maybe it would be for a foundation that rescues pets. I don't know, just thinking about where my mug might go. Oh, here it is, a cute doggy. I can give him a little more of a smile. I like it. All right, I am going to do a nice design going across my mug, and I'm looking forward to getting into the coloring of my mug. I have these empty spaces over here. Maybe there's some other dogs, kind of like that one mug. Maybe I'll do an ear up, coming down, maybe a side of an eye. Again, this kind of helps with the form. It's showing that the mug has curvature going around and that there's something else peeking out the side here, almost like open composition. This ear is going to be a super long ear, and maybe that's all you see. All right, I'm looking forward to getting into coloring. All right, I'm using both markers and crayons for my creation today. I'm going to use the crayons on my actual mug to color. And I'm going to use the markers for my tablecloth. On this one, I used crayons for the tablecloth, but I want to teach you a really neat technique that we can use for getting a shadow or the shade thrown by the mug. And again, that just really helps out with the overall form of our mug, making it look three-dimensional. All right, let's get to work. Now for the tablecloth. For this tablecloth, I'm choosing green. I don't have any samples with green yet. Now, when you're using a marker for the tablecloth, your lines are going to overlap. So you want to make sure if you're going at a diagonal when you're coloring in that you stay at a diagonal. Or if you're going across the paper, that you remain going across the paper horizontal with your marker. Again, that's because when the lines overlap, they'll show. I think I'll go across. I'm using the side of my marker to get the thickest line. I'm gonna try and go right up to that mug. Right up to the mug. Skipping the handle and continuing the horizontal line. All right, I'm gonna fill this up and then we'll talk about adding that shadow. All right, I have my tablecloth drawn in. I'm not getting to the shadow yet. What was bothering me was this napkin that was just kind of blank. So I'm adding just a little bit of a design or a pattern with the crayon, kind of like on a napkin. So I was just looking at a napkin and saw that it had all these little dots and maybe some little swirls. Again, I'm just keeping it really light because I want my focal point, or where my viewer's eye goes, to be my mug. I want it to stay on my subject matter here. So I'm just lightly adding a little pattern to my napkin. This also gives me an opportunity to think about where I want my light source coming from. I think I want it coming from this corner, so that it's gonna draw the shadow over here. While on my napkin, maybe I'll use this black. I don't have to use black, I could use blue. In fact, let me just switch it up. I'm going to use blue for my shadow. I'm gonna start by going underneath my mug and going at this angle. Now that I have the angle that my shadow is going on my paper, I'm gonna stop right there where my marker is and pick up my marker and continue the shadow. Now I'm adding a second layer to the marker tablecloth. And that's making it a darker value. And that is how I like to really capture a shadow when using marker. I'm gonna go over it one more time. Really casting that shadow over here. So now I have it both on the napkin and on the tablecloth, using crayon and marker for casting my shadows. That really helps out with the overall form, or making a two-dimensional artwork look three-dimensional by adding shadow or shade, or changing the value of the tablecloth. Value is how we talk about the dark or light of a color. And just by changing the value of this color, making it darker, it will give the illusion of a shadow. All right, time for our background. You can add a picture. You can add multiple pictures. Maybe look around your room. Or are you outside? Is this table outside? Maybe you could draw something for the background to show that. All right, I decided for my background I was missing something, so I put in a clock. It looks like it's somewhere in the 8 o'clock hour. I'm just going to lightly shade my background, and I want to show you something special about the steam. Steam is see-through, and it's always moving, right? Always in movement. That's why I like that wispy look to it. But as I'm coloring in my background, it's okay if I go into the steam. In fact, I'm gonna go and color a little bit into the steam here. I'm trying to do a really light pressure with my crayon to make sure I get an even distribution of color all the way across my picture. And then I can go back and color the other way, and in art we call that cross-hatching. It's a technique used to really fill the paper with an even value of color. Remember how we talked about value is a darker, or the dark or light of a color. So I want to make sure it's a nice even value going across for my background. Now that I've gone into the steam a little bit, that just reminds me that the steam is going to be see-through. Let me go ahead and get this complete background colored in, and then I can go back and I can use my black crayon really lightly to make a gray for my steam. I've done that in a few of my pictures here, and I kind of like that overall look. So here we go. I've made sure I colored in to my steam area, and now I can add just a little bounce here and there of the black really light to just make sure my viewer knows that this is steam. I am using the same curvature that I used with my original line of the steam, just to make sure I'm conveying the movement of my steam. It's moving. I also like that I can go right into that clock area just to show that there's steam coming in front of my clock area there, but that you can still see it through the steam. There we go. So now we have a three-dimensional artwork, because we've shown form not only with the curvature of line, but with a shadow that really helps with the form. We have a little bit of movement in our picture with this steam, and it's translucent or see-through. I like that. I like these qualities in our artworks. I've added again a clock in the background, just a little design on the napkin. And now I wanted to show you at the beginning, maybe you did this as well. I used another piece of paper to practice my ellipticals, or my ellipse. Now I've gone back and I've created some different mugs. Hey, maybe it's on a shelf at a store. Maybe we'll find your mugs on a shelf at a store with your design. I can't wait to see what you created. What inspired you? What did you put on your mug? What color did you make your tablecloth? What did you put in the background? Thank you for creating with me today.